Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. And we're zooming in and focusing in on a really important concept that was emphasized by a viewer who made a really loud, basically profound aha moment comment on one of the videos. And that was looking at really the impact of learned helplessness, the experience from the supply, the target, the people who are involved in relationship with covert narcissist or psychopathic individuals, the sort of a supply bond, which really is, in essence, a learned helplessness. I'm going to go into that in that video. And before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to that viewer for making such amazing comments and revelations and opening up, and for her recent donation to the channel as well. Thank you so much for your generosity, your gratitude, and it's such an honor and a privilege to be able to assist you to see the dynamics of the current situation so you can break free. And oftentimes people feel that they can't break free. It will always be stuck. They will always feel like this. They will always be this person living under the rock, living under the dominion over another, living under the loud yells, living in constant fear, having them make all the choices and decisions. I want to say, on the fourth floor of the hotel, well, I want to stay on the first floor, and then they always win. In other words, it's their choices and decisions that always end up getting followed up on because they love to be in control. They love to be the one in power. And once in a while, they'll give you that taste of, well, what do you want? And then they'll really end up making the decisions. So you really enter into a very profound, and this is a very key state for you to understand in psychological and classical conditioning, which is the state of learned helplessness. And I've described this in other videos, and I'm inspired by this viewer to make a little bit more content on that. So thank you once again for your contribution and your donation to the channel. Love you. Thank you so much for what you're doing, and your work is you're going to break free, as are all of you. And so if you look at where you are now and where you're going to be eventually, someday, I want to let you know that you're going to say, wow, I have come so far. I have come, miles and miles, light years ahead of where I was. I never thought I'd be able to feel like this, feel safe, secure, like I'm happy, like life is going my way. I have friends, I have employment, I have talents. I've discovered my talents, and I can embrace the talents of others and just rejoice. It's like a much better feeling. It's a whole much different outcome of life than being underneath the dominion, the control, the intimidation, the louder voice, or the louder, quiet voice of the covert narcissist or the psychopath. And the psychopath is really just a shell of a person. Everything that they do is pretend. And oftentimes, that is their life. I mean, they live one pretend moment to another. In the depth with which they manipulate people is very profound. In the psychological kind of takeover or torture, psychological hijacking, really I think is a better way to put it, is very scary. And it's very difficult to break free. And it's kind of like you become addicted. Not kind of, it is like you become addicted to these sort of domineering people. Because in the beginning, it might have started out very positive, very fluid. It might have been, very comfortable and a safe feeling to be with this person who is making the choices, who is maybe a little bit older, had a little bit more money. They were a little bit louder. Their physical presence was maybe a little bit larger. And you felt, kind of under their wing. And so in the beginning, there's nothing wrong with that feeling. But when a covert narcissist or a psychopath gets into a relationship, they will have a pre-calculated route or way the relationship is going to unfold, where basically you are being devalued and discarded. And furthermore, they'll make sure that other people around in that inner circle, whether it's your family or through isolation, they'll make sure that you aren't able to kind of pull yourself up out of that situation. And why? Because they enjoy the feeling of being in control or dominating others. And oftentimes people, they have a difficult time kind of, they're in a relationship, but they don't understand or have the knowledge that are other people who are different than them. In other words, you think, well, I would never do that to somebody. I would never mistreat them. I would never take advantage of their weakness. and then they can't, put the two and two together. So that's what part of the learning stage is learning that they look at relationships and they take pleasure and juice out of relationships in a different fashion, in a different manner than on an equal playing field. And furthermore, what's even more important is for you to understand that learned helplessness can occur in the relationship. And in the mid-60s, there was a psychologist, Dr. Martin Seligman, who did an experiment with dogs, and then giving them a very gentle electric shock and then ringing a bell. And they learned through classical conditioning, which is making associations, which is pairing things up. Every time the dog got shocked, he would ring the bell and then pair those two together. And so that every time, then he would do it over and over and over again. So the dog learned. The dog paired the two together. I hear the bell, I get a shock. I hear the bell, I get a shock. I hear the bell, I get a shock. And then eventually he would just ring the bell, and then the dog would flinch like he was getting in shock. And he would feel pain just by hearing the bell. The relationship with a covert narcissist or a psychopath is very much the same way. You are classically conditioned to feel a specific way with which they are training you, conditioning you, teaching you to be, do, feel, have, and become, and that is to be powerless or to learn helplessness. In other words, through the things that they say, the isolation that they put you in, the way that they make you feel great and make you feel kind of anesthetized with them. The different things that they say, the unique enigmas that keep you wondering and and kind of fearful and, trying to figure out what it is that they said for 2-3 days, 4 or 5 weeks, and then still, getting more in the tumult. And it's really, you're getting into a psychological cocktail of a number of different feelings, including reward, including stress, and you're getting a bunch of, neurochemicals that are not supposed to be combined when this happens, including fear and pleasure. And so this can become, it really marks the brain. It has a very strong kind of etching effect in the neural networks that occur. And so you become addicted. The brain really gets, the brain really does crave and get addicted to these high levels of sensation. So it's just like when people are on drugs or they're on, alcohol. Some people become very addicted. In other words, they crave the feeling, or they crave exercise. They crave that high. And, oftentimes it's the depletion of other negative feelings, which are part of that. So it's just like when people take drugs, they're not concerned about their day-to-day life, their responsibilities, their accountabilities. They're just in some sort of checked out state. And so, when you are in a relationship with this type of individual, the learned helplessness becomes an association. So then you feel, not always when you're around them, you're going to feel this down manner. And then furthermore, your body is going to be flooded with emotions or feelings, which then reinforce the thoughts. So then your feelings become your new baseline. Feeling always down, feeling agitated, feeling like anxious, feeling like you can't relax, feeling like you can't sleep. These are the hormones of stress. This is the cortisol. This is the, adrenals that are on fight or flight. In other words, it's your body telling you, you better take flight. You better do something. You are in danger. And the body can enter into that state even when you are combated. It doesn't even have to be a physical release, i.e., somebody endangering you physically, but when somebody constantly criticizes, berates you, causes you to feel afraid, it elicits the body and brain work and feel and react in the same manner. In other words, you feel attacked. You feel like someone is after you. It creates the suspicion, the fear. All those stress hormones and chemicals are what is causing this. And so your body is releasing this. Your endocrine system, your lymphatic system is having a tough time clearing it out. Your brain isn't able to kind of get slow and enter into REM sleep because it can't relax. The mind begins racing. You begin entering into the real hyper consciousness, hyper aroused brainwave state. So you become agitated, and then one reinforces the other, and then you just become, really scared. You feel like you can't connect the dots. You can't connect your thoughts. So I'll have you know that this is a temporary state, but this is what we call learned helplessness. And furthermore, we're going to go a little bit long here. And so, so in other words, you can then feel this fear. You can feel it's very much like this experiment with Dr. Seligman, where every time the bell rang, that dog would, feel the pain and react to the shock even before it happened. But then furthermore, he did another experiment where he had the same dogs who had been conditioned to feel that pain again and again and again. So they were taught that. They learned that, just like you learned your ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, you learn to feel this way. So it's very important to realize that, because that is the key. Because if you've learned, you can learn new. You can unlearn and learn a new feeling, a new thought pattern, a new way of life, new relationships. It's scary. It seems like a long, far way away, but it will come. You have to work the steps to get through learned helplessness. And it might take months, it might take years, it might take weeks, but keep with it. If you keep with it, you're going to undo the learned helplessness. So that is the huge good news for you. But furthermore, I just want to add one more quick note about this study, is that he put these two dogs in... He put dogs in like a box, with one side had the electrical shock. If you've ever had an electrical shock, it's very unpleasant. I mean, it can sting you, and certain volts can be really, really unpleasant. But so he put one side of the fence that was electrified, and then he had kind of like a little panel which was, low enough, or, not too high, so the dogs, if they were in pain, they could just jump out. They could just really, go to freedom, get away from the pain. The dogs who were classically conditioned by that electrical feeling, who had been shocked before, just stayed in that side of the box that had the electrical impulses going through them, and they would not jump to the other side, because they had been taught that pain will never go away. That pain will never go away. So they just stayed stuck and continued to be kind of, electrified on that side. And they, when they could have easily just jumped to freedom, it was just like a simple little, 6-inch thing that they could have jumped over, but the dogs did not jump. He put healthy dogs in there who had not been classically trained to feel that electrical shock. And when the healthy dogs went in there, the minute they felt that shock, they just easily jumped over to freedom. It's because they didn't have that association with the electrical shock. In other words, they learned from the first part of the experiment that there was nothing they could do to avoid the shocks. So they gave up the second part of the, they gave up making that leap, making that jump. So it's my message to you to consider how, very importantly, that when you are with a malignant narcissist, a covert narcissist, a psychopath, who is trying to grind you down through fear, through yelling, who can yell louder, who can give the silent treatment more, who can berate you, who can intimidate you, who can, give you temporary solace, and then, keep you down, keep you isolated. That this is a way that you have been taught to feel, behave, and become by this person, and they keep you docile, they keep you helpless, because it helps them to feel powerful in a very sadistic way. Even though you would never do that to somebody, this is not your personality disorder. Other people have this personality disorder. And just like the dog who, had been taught that you cannot get away, it's very much like the same conditioning. Your mind and your emotions tend to reinforce those negative feelings. In other words, once you learn something, once you learn your ABCs, you can put words together, you can put sentences, you can put paragraphs, etc. Well, it's kind of like the same ripple effect. Once you learn to feel, to feel isolated, to feel trapped by this person, for them to yell at you and shut the door, yell and shut the door, or, just try to always make decisions and never give you a voice, always giving you the look, whatever it is that they're doing, that you have been taught. You see, it's not only that in that moment, it ripples out into your emotions, how you feel, and then that reinforces how you think, which reinforces your decisions, your choices, and then kind of like your vision for your future. So it really puts a whole kind of damper, and it puts a whole negative feeling or inner climate from which to live from. And so furthermore, what I want you to understand is that, then the following thoughts after that are, well, I don't have what it takes. I am not enough. I am not smart enough. I am not happy enough. I am not rich enough. I am not emotional. I am too emotional. All these other excuses then begin to, from that root of learned helplessness, tends to have it's kind of like it spreads out like a tree. Those are the roots, and then it spreads out into especially the false thoughts, the erroneous messages, which then your thoughts relay that, that in the back of your mind, yes, this is psychology we're talking about. This will set you free. Your thoughts then tell you, well, I'm not enough. I don't have the clothes. I don't have the shoes. I don't have the jewelry. I don't have the money. I don't have. My feet are too flat. My feet are too arched. My shoulders are too big. My shoulders are too small. My stomach is too big. My stomach's too small. My hair is too short. My hair is too long. I'm not enough. They're not, no. What if someone finds out about this history of me? They're not going to love me. These are all then the excuses, the pursuant thoughts that tend to follow the learned helplessness. So do you see how you then have learned to feel negative, act negative, make negative choices, and then continue to keep that role going with these people? So you have to recognize that this has been learned, just like you've learned your ABCs 1, 2, 3. You can learn more subjects than ABC 1, 2, 3, correct? You can learn think of all the other subjects you've learned. Well, I want you to think about your life moving forward in very much the same way. It's time to learn a whole nother class. It's time to learn the affirmations, the feeling, the focus, the idea of saying no, the boundaries, the getting in touch with knowing that you have a talent, you have a grace. You absolutely positively do. And it's getting in touch with that and acknowledging it. And even if it's fearful, even if it's scary, even though I've never done this before, even though this is new, even though this is unfamiliar, even though this is uncertain, I don't know what's going to happen, you absolutely positively need to crawl, slither, get out away from this negative environment and come to begin to get your thoughts going in the right way, recognizing what has happened, forgiving yourself, forgiving this person, and then begin to put together some peaceful time within yourself with which you can focus, you can relax, and then also you can go on a recovery date where you're out and about and you're giving yourself at least 2 hours to kind of get a positive strategy in your mind. You might have to go back to the narcissist. You might have to go back to the psychopath. You might be working with them. You might be living with them. But while you take that recovery date and you're feeling whole, you're beginning to feel stronger, you're beginning to become aware that I have to make some better choices, I do need to get out of the situation, then I want you to work on your affirmations and affirming what you know you need to do. Stop the procrastinating. I want to follow up on this. I am free. I am strong. I am peaceful. I love life. And I'm going to let life love me. Make these affirmations within your mind on your recovery date. You need to work it hard in the beginning. If you feel like you're repeating these things over and over and over again, you do, because you have to overwrite those negative messages. And they oftentimes have to be verbalized vocally. I am strong. I am positive. I am loving. I am friendly. I enjoy friends. I know I can enjoy life. And begin to say these things. And even if while you're walking, if you have to scream them out loud at the top of your lungs, I am lovable. I am lovable. You need to yell that out, because those words will ripple out into the universe. I'm using big terms. Guess what? That's where it goes. It goes to the universe. It becomes loud. Yes, it connects with the law of life. there's in it, there's an infinite being. There's electrical energy, telepathic energy, which emanates out. And once you begin to believe that, the other old feelings will wash and fall away. So when I say, and we're going a little bit long, when I say you have to make your affirmations, I mean you have to shout them out at the top of your lungs. Do that for at least a week. Try it and see what it does. You'll find how much anger, how much energy, how much juice, how much determination, how much willpower, and how much passion you have. Because once you yell it out, it is loud enough to override those negative feelings. Once you say, I am lovable, I am lovable, I am lovable, it's like putting in a root of a new seed, and you're getting the feelings in, and you're getting that conviction, and you're getting that confidence, and you're getting that certainty, and you're getting that deserve going, which is your muscle memory really becoming invigorated, and that will clear your thoughts. It'll bring, little by little, it'll help you to break away from that delirium, the kind of terrifying hysteria that can become a culture when you are with a covert malignant narcissist or a psychopathic. It becomes a real tangible sort of control. I understand that 100%. I know how difficult it is 100%. I know it seems helpless and hopeless 100%. But I'm here to tell you, after years and decades of studying, that it can and will absolutely get better, and you will come to the other side of that, and you'll have realized you've come so far. And that's why people say life is a journey, but you need to, journey out. Elvis needs to leave the building. Your free spirit needs to become ignited and learn to use the astromations, your recovery date, repeating these again and again, so it's loud enough, strong enough to make reverberations in your body and out into the universe at large, just sending energy out, sending it out, sending it out. I am lovable. I deserve love. I deserve fair treatment. I deserve respect. I deserve healthy boundaries. I deserve to be around people who will not violate my boundaries. I deserve to be around respectful people. I mean, these are the kind of affirmations that you need to make. And then once you do it, once you really solidify it, it's kind of like having a little bit of putty and like really getting some shape, and you're really carving it out. You're carving your feelings. You're creating that resonancy within your body. And once you do that, you feel it, it, reinforce it, you stay with it, you back it up, you keep yourself on track, then it'll become a natural part of your being and your personality and your identity, and you won't have to keep, those affirmations. You'll have kind of broken free. You'll have created those new neural pathways, releasing a whole new flood of healthy, positive, peaceful, and harmonious, blissful, joyful, energized, and passionate energies into your body. And then it's like clearing through the air. It's like breaking through, a geode rock. It's like kind of opening up it's opening up the shell that has been tried to be forced on you to keep you ensnared and keep you isolated and keep you feeling miserable. All those different experiences that can be created around these people. And sad but true, but sometimes you have to say bye. Don't be burdened by the stigma. I have to leave. I have to be separated. I need help. I need to go to my physician. I need to get a checkup. I need, family support. I need financial support. I need to get Medicaid. I need to go to my state office. I need to get, I need to get domestic shelter. I need to go, I need financial support. I need, whatever it's called, food stamps. Don't be ashamed. Some of the most amazing, gorgeous people have emerged from, dirt floors, horrific health situations, dire situations, but they have broken free, and they've been able to tell their story, but furthermore, live their life. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support. Share the love. Thank you so much.